Hello, everyone. Welcome back to No Doubt. This week, I've picked my friend's favorite tree in the whole world, and that is the aspen. I took this picture at Glacier National Park, and it's really hard to take pictures of these beautiful trees unless you're a really good photographer, and I'm just an amateur. She really loves the shaking leaves, the quaking leaves, and that's what a lot of us know the aspens for. They are widespread in the United States, although there are problems with them in the last few years. And people, the arborists are worried about the life of the aspens. But I picked it for that reason because my friend likes them and what I learned about them, that they are the largest organism on the earth, because when you see a grove, I think they call them a clone of aspen trees, they are really one organism. They are working together as one organism. They are connected by the roots. And I borrowed this drawing from the Yale School of Architecture and the School of Art to demonstrate how many there are in this one organism. Much like what the Bible tells us about the church, that we are many in one body. I'm not saying that it's perfect and it works that way all the time, but that is the idea, just like the aspens. I did read that the oldest root system of aspens is in Utah, and they're about 80,000 years old. And they're genetically, these trees are genetically alike. And I think that's probably how they figured out that they're connected by the root systems. Underneath that beautiful white bark that we know an aspen to have is a thin green layer that produces sugars, sap. And you've probably, if you've been up close to one at the right time of year, you can see sap kind of oozing out of the tree. And this allows these trees to grow all year long, whereas most other trees are dormant for some part of the season, but not these. And they provide a lot of food for wildlife, all sorts of things, moose and elk and beaver and birds, all sorts of wildlife depend upon these beautiful trees. We also know that the aspen is not as flammable as most other trees. And partly because of that high water content, that sugar content that's inside of the tree. And because of that, a lot of matches are made of aspen, a lot of saunas and chopsticks, I read. Now, after a wildfire like the one we see here, where we've seen great destruction, especially in the evergreen family, they are finding that the aspens sort of provide a firewall, and they stop that fire somewhat. And after a fire or a disease or an insect goes through and sort of kills off some of the forest, the aspens thrive. They are reaching for that sun, and they'll do anything they can to continue to grow. The last picture I have is of the eyes that are so characteristic on the side of an aspen tree. And they are self-pruning, which is also pretty amazing. And when those lower branches are not getting enough sunlight, the tree just snaps them off because they're using a lot of energy to try to keep them alive. And that eye is the scar where the branch has pruned itself because it's looking to spend the energy closer to the sun. This reminds me that God is always with us, seeing our joys and seeing our sorrows. I hope that you are experiencing a blessing of some sort this week. I'll see you next week.